Hey there guys, it's Salis, and welcome back to Retro Wednesdays. This week we are finishing off the Streets of Rage series with this. Streets of Rage 3. Now, you may notice a slight tone in my voice. That's because I don't like this one very much. And here's a perfect example of why. Listen to that soundtrack. That is awful. Also, we're keeping the same two characters that have been persistent through all the games, Axel and Blaze. Skate makes his return, as does the token old guy, Zan. No, not that one, but that one would be cooler. And since we've now played one as Adam, one as Axel, we're going to do this one as Blaze, because I refuse to touch any of the new characters. And let me show you why this game isn't very good. This, for a start. Yeah, they decided to give this a story. The first two games were just a bunch of idiots punching tons of dudes. And trying to give it a story is, well, a bit stupid, really. This is your first stage. As usual, the music is still terrible. Character models have been improved, although I don't know why they decided to change Blaze's costume from red to silver. It looked exactly the same apart from colour, so no upgrade has been made there. As you can see, enemies in this are not very tricky. There's just more of them. And you'll notice at the top of the screen as well, there's that constantly flashing thing that says, OK. And let me show you what that actually does. You can only use your special move when the game says it's OK to do so. After that, it drains your health. I mean, the whole point of the special move in Streets of Rage 2 was it drained your health regardless. Now it gives you a grace period, whereby you can do it without taking any penalty. I mean, that was one of the things I used to like about Streets of Rage 2. Also, you'll notice the go arrows. It looks like they've just cut it in half. It looks lazy. The bat, however, has had a nice upgrade from the previous two games. Still does the same damage, still gives you the good reach. And you can still be disarmed by something as simple as a dude dropping from a cargo container. But other than the bat upgrade, and the fact that now instead of the bat breaking, you actually just throw it away when you're done using it. The graphics haven't really taken a massive step forward. One thing they did introduce was this, the ability to combat roll. Oh, and guns. Some of the enemies now use guns, which is just ridiculous, because when you're fighting in unarmed combat, essentially, for 90% of a game, them using guns is an insult. You'll notice in the last section as well, that some of the things you had to destroy to get items were pretty hard to see. Fortunately, this is only really limited to a few levels. Other than that, they're pretty obvious, like the tyres in here. Unfortunately, they bring Fatty back quite early, and you can't grab him, because if you try and throw him, he just flattens you. You'll notice as well, my sword, or whatever weapon I'm carrying at the time, has its own health meter. That dictates when you throw it away. While I like being able to see when I'm going to run out of sword, or pipe, or baseball bat, or various other items that you can beat people with, I preferred the random nature of it, and having to memorise how many swings you'll get out of a weapon before you lose it. And as you can see, the weather bikers make a return. They're still just as easily destroyed. Just remove the bike and you remove them. Because without a bike, they're not bikers anymore. But this is an annoying mechanic. Every so often they'll just bust a load of enemies in from nowhere. They always jump in a predictable pattern off the boat, and you can pretty much deal with them really easily. Unfortunately, this is most of the level. You spend more time waiting for a boat to turn up than you do actually, well, fighting things. These guys make a comeback, although they're not named after traffic signals this time. Apparently one of them is named after Vanilla Ice, and I feel sorry for him. See, look, here comes another boat. And, yep, predictable as hell. Also, I still can't understand a word Blaze is saying, so I don't know what they're trying to do with it. Aha, turkey. This means boss fights. And apparently they're busting the bosses in as well. Some of that. Okay, the boss is called Bono. It's ironic because he's wearing sunglasses. He actually looks like Bono. So for once, the name is kind of appropriate. There we go. Apparently turkey does not mean boss, however. What turkey means is, this level is longer than you think it is. You've still got these collectible items, which is still cool. But as you can see, with them trying to include more enemies on the screen at one time, they've also ended up reusing them more often. Like, I've just killed Donovan, and here he is again. This is Electra. You'll remember her from Streets of Rage 2. She was the bartender's bitch. Still using the Electro Whip. Not entirely sure why. Now, this is the boss. Now, unlike the last couple of games where the bosses have been either huge or monstrous or a combination of the two, this time it's just a dude. Just some random dude who happens to be called Shiva. Have some of that. I mean, I liked the massive, monstrous bosses of the previous two games. They were good. But this guy, he's just some dude. Come on, come get me. Have some of that. Oh, you fail so badly. Oh, the jetpack guy's back to save his friend. That's odd. I don't know whether that's supposed to be foreshadowing or something, but, you know. And here we have another pointless story section. Skate's a whiny little bitch throughout, by the way. Zan is constantly complaining as well. Oh, Blaze has an idea, though. And Axel doesn't get a say. Can I point out in this, they established that Axel was kind of like the Fred to Blaze's Daphne. So this doesn't really make any sense. Oh, that's actually a grenade. Okay, doesn't explain anything. Although then again, with bikers, I probably should have expected the same. So I guess the question is, what do I make of Streets of Rage 3? Honestly, I think it's just lazy more than anything else. Enemies are reskinned and reused more than previous two games. Way more than the previous two games. The music is nowhere near as good, and the levels are nowhere near as interesting. I mean, if you look at this level, for example, this is basically stage 1 from Streets of Rage 1, with all the neon signs and flashy bits, but they've thrown in the Streets of Rage 2 bikers for flavour. I mean, I don't even see why Streets of Rage needs a third game, especially not if it's going to be this kind of quality. And including a story in a game where a story was irrelevant. It's just trying to find something for the design team to do. They could have been doing something far more important. I can't really think of what else would be more important, because the fighting engine is still quite good, but it has all the hallmarks of a game that has been severely cut back. I mean, look at this. I'm fighting a kangaroo. Couldn't think of any better human enemies than a kangaroo and a clown. In fact, his name is actually Brew. This guy... Okay, this is just offensive to Australians. The guy's named Bruce, and there's a kangaroo. I'm glad I'm not an Australian. Well, I would be out for blood right about now. Did that kangaroo just scream like a man? I'm sorry, that kangaroo screamed with a human voice. Goodbye, Bruce. So yeah, Streets of Rage 3, not as good as the first two. And on that, Bruce Shell, I'm going to have to say, I've been Salis. This has been Streets of Rage 3. And I will see you next time.